In the War of 1971, Pakistan lost half its navy, a quarter of its air force, and a third of its army. And I quote these figures from Pakistani sources. The most daring attack carried out by the Indian Navy was executed on the 4th of December 1971, when 3 Indian gunboats sped towards Karachi harbour, each carrying 4 Styx missiles on board. Pakistan's naval headquarters was based at the historic and strategic port of Karachi, and it was here that almost their entire fleet was concentrated. Karachi was Pakistan's main port for foreign trade, and a blockade of the harbour during the war had to be avoided at any cost. So Karachi was very well guarded, both at sea as well as from the air, with 2 airfields in close proximity.
That was the main support base for Bangladesh. That means all kinds of food items, military equipment, supplies, they used to go from Karachi to Chittagong.
The plan to strike Karachi had been plotted in detail and well in advance. It was already night when war was declared on the 3rd, and the Indian attack took place on the 4th. 3 missile boats were towed to a point south of Karachi harbour from where they were to launch their attack. From that point on, communications were to be in Russian that the Indians spoke to confuse Pakistani eavesdroppers. INS Nipat, INS Nirghat, and INS Veer were the 3 missile boats that devastated Karachi harbour and broke the morale of the Pakistani Navy beyond repair.
The orders were that once we are 60 miles south of Karachi, at that time the missile boats will enter that zone and carry out the attack.
Operation Trident began on the afternoon of 4th December, when 3 missile boats, named the Killer Squadron, began their northward run towards Karachi. Halfway to the target, an oiler, INS Poshak, waited to refuel the 3 missile boats. A 4th missile boat, INS Vidyut, followed at a safe distance and was to be used in case of a Pakistani counterattack. 70 miles south of Karachi harbour, the first target was located. Pakistani destroyer Khyber was on patrol duty, but did not detect the low-lying missile boats bearing down on Karachi. At 22:45 hours Pakistan time, the first missile fired by the Indian Navy's Nirghat struck PNS Khyber.
The moment we locked on, I pressed the button and the missile took off. And it was about, I think at that time, about 17.5 to 18 nautical mile away from us. The missile went and went, and suddenly there was a big flash right ahead of us. That means the missile had hit.
Khyber sent out an emergency transmission saying it had been attacked by enemy aircraft. At 22:49 hours, the second missile, fired by INS Nirghat, struck Khyber.
When the second missile went off, it hit the target right in the center, and it broke it into 2 pieces like this, right? It went off like this. Earlier it was a one single echo, it became 2 echoes.
And within minutes, the Pakistani warship had dropped off the radar as it entered its grave in the Arabian Sea. A few minutes after the strike on Khyber, the second missile boat, INS Nipat, saw a target in its range and launched a missile. When this missile struck its target, merchant ship Venus Challenger, 26 miles south of Karachi, a huge explosion took place on board. The ship broke into 2 and sank within 8 minutes. It was later established that this merchant vessel was being used to bring huge amounts of US ammunition from Saigon in South Vietnam. The second missile, fired by INS Nipat, struck the Pakistani destroyer PNS Shah Jahan, crippling it beyond repair.
ship called, another battle destroyer called Shah Jahan. So she was damaged, right, and not sunk.
The third missile boat was fast approaching Karachi. About 30 miles from the harbour, it saw the minesweeper PNS Mohafiz in range and fired a missile at it. At 23:05 Pakistan time, the Indian Styx missile struck Mohafiz and destroyed it. The minesweeper didn't even get time to send out a distress signal. Detecting no other floating targets, the Indian missile boats now sped on towards Karachi. 14 miles out at sea, INS Nippert, for the first time in history, fired a ship-to-ship missile at a shore target. At 1 minute to midnight, the Styx missile hit a giant oil tank at Karachi port. The fire that spread was so devastating, it soon engulfed other tanks in the area. And then there was a huge explosion that lit up the entire sky.
I remember there was a big, huge fire off Karachi, as if the sun had risen there. There was so much of fire was there.
As Karachi burned, the Indian Navy broke radio silence to transmit just one word: Angar. The code word to tell Naval Headquarters that Operation Trident had been carried out successfully.